Good morning. We are going to be talking about a new trial that just kind of started, but it won't be going through the normal phase of all the trials. And that is, there is a teacher, I'm going to read you all the details before we actually watch, but there's a teacher that knew a family that was struggling, and she worked at the kids' schools. The kids were like 9, 11, and 13, let's say, all around that ballpark, probably off by a couple numbers. But so the parents were divorcing. It was really bad home life. And the teacher said, hey, like, the kids can come over, sleep at my house. I'll take them to school in the morning. And the dad really utilized that because of everything that was going on. So he would let them do that. And that started a pretty long time ago. I'm going to say it probably ended maybe like 6 years ago-ish. But then something weird happened. And the dad happened to be seeing the girl. They no longer really did that anymore. The kids had grown up more. They were either in high school or going to college. But he saw the teacher's baby and said, that baby looks like me. It looks like my son. And he freaked out. And it turns out it was his son's child. And the teacher and his son, who would stay there, had a whole relationship, and he was only 11 at the time. I mean, just horrific, awful, so many things to talk about when it comes to this. But I'm gonna go ahead and have us watch and see if they can break down better some details, and then we'll discuss further. So let me put myself into the corner. We do know that the son, who is older, like I said now, he said that he initiated that stuff with her, and he wanted all charges against her dropped. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen, but he mostly was saying that to his dad because evidently he had still been in contact with her, and it's just a nightmare. But yeah, he was 11. So it's not even like he was 18 and like not good, but it is what it is. No, he was a minor. Horrible. Okay, I found it. Okay.
This defendant has demonstrated inability to exploit her position to gain access and manipulate minors for her own gain, for her own sexual gratification.
Now to what's trending in true crime. In an exclusive interview with Daily Mail, the teenager who had a baby with his New Jersey teacher insists that he started the relationship. Former teacher Laura Caron facing up to 10 years in prison on charges that she raped the male teen who moved in with her when he was just 11 years old. The teen told DailyMail.com this about his relationship with Caron, quote, "They need to drop all charges. I wasn't groomed or raped or manipulated by her. She never initiated anything." He goes on to say, quote, "I started everything. If it was up to me, she wouldn't have been in jail. It's been 6 or 7 years. I'm 19, about to be 20. I love her with all my heart. She was there for me and my family." Wow. What's your reaction to hearing that teenage father's comments? Let's bring in our power panel. Still with me, criminal defense and civil rights attorney KCR Early, private investigator Manuel Gomez, and want to welcome in the solicitor for the 16th Judicial Circuit in South Carolina, attorney Kevin Brackett. Kevin, let me begin with you, please. What's your reaction to hearing that teenager's comments?
Well, you never know what's going on in his head, but just looking at the facts, cold, dispassionate, you have to ask yourself, is any 13-year-old capable of making the decision to father a child? No. So where has his head been, over the last, what I think they said they started when he was 11 years old. He started having some sort of relationship with her when he was 11. I mean, it's absurd. She was 26, 28 when he fathered the child. I hate that his head is in a place where he can't understand the position of trust and power that she had over him, and how she abused that, how she was required by the law to look out for his best interest because he was incapable of doing that. It's just sad. It really is.
It really is, Kevin. You're absolutely right. It's heartbreaking. He can't see that he's a victim here. He sees her as a victim, apparently. Casey, what's your reaction to listening to what he said?
I was thinking the same thing. He doesn't understand that even though he, quote, initiated that, a minor cannot consent. So even if in this state, it's the age of 16, but then you have the other layer where she was a teacher. She had a duty of care. So there's no consent at any age. And then the point that he doesn't even understand that he's a victim shows that the jury, I'm pretty sure, is going to see that not only is he still delusional in this case, that we know that this, quote, grooming started at a tender age of 11. Even though there's no evidence of sexual misconduct, there was reports that he was in the bed with her and some allegations of witnessing some sexual misconduct between her and this child. This is an unfortunate incident, and this is why we have prosecutors where they can disregard the request of a victim and continue to prosecute based on the law. So yes, this case is definitely sad.
Casey, thank you for that. I want to show you both something else he said when he was asked by Daily Mail about contacting his child. So apparently there's a no contact order in place. We can infer that based on what he said. He's saying, quote, "I can't talk to them. I wish I could, but I can't. And it sucks." Again, an exclusive interview with dailymail.com. Ooh, Manuel Gomez, last but not least on our panel on this topic. What do you think when you hear this?
Well, like my colleague said, I'm very saddened by this case. It's extremely disturbing. What's even more disturbing is I'd like to know the reason why he moved in with her at 11 years old, okay? And that right there in itself was a red flag. But besides that, this is a case that there is no way to win. Now, I know her attorney's putting up a defense, but this is a slam dunk again, another one for the prosecutor. This poor child did not know what was happening, and there is no doubt in my mind that she's going to lose. If I was her, and I hope they're listening, take the plea. Plea out, and don't put yourself through this trial. All right. And then if it's meant to be and you two get married down the road, then fine. But the bottom line is she's not going to win. She's going to get the maximum sentence. There's no doubt in my mind. She should just take the plea.
That's smart advice, Manuel. Really smart advice, especially for the child, because as you all know, there's another victim here. The baby, right? The baby that they had is another victim in all this, in addition to the teenager, based on the evidence.
Okay, so I have a few things to say to that clip. So she was arrested in around January 15th this year. And so all of this is very much so in real time. 11 years old. And then he's saying, "Oh no, it wasn't her, it was me. She shouldn't be arrested." I would do exactly what his parent is doing. I would go after them. 11 years old is not old enough for consent. It's ridiculous. And how horrible. This was an adult that his parents trusted so much to take care of the three of them just for random overnights, like just to get them to school, take them home from school. Nothing crazy or abnormal. And this is what happened with that. And it really made me think about the Mary Kay Latourne. Let me see if I could just put this in. I am not saying her last name right, but when you guys see her picture, you should know who I'm talking about. All right, I'm going to move myself. So now this is a little bit of an older case. But does she look familiar for any of you? Let me move this too. This is the teacher that had an affair with one of her students. Here's actually a picture of them right there. And when she was arrested for what was going on with them, she actually was pregnant with their first child. And I believe he was in 6th grade. I think he was 12, something like that. She was in her 30s. She was married and had children of her own at the time that this went on. And they ended up staying together. They ended up getting married. Here's another picture of him when he was younger. She has since then passed. She had cancer, I believe. But the last several years of her life, there was all these interviews going on with them. And this one in particular, this picture reminds me of it, that he actually started to open up about the fact of him wondering if he was taken advantage of, if something did happen to him, that this is bad and not right. And he was really young. And it was really when his daughters hit the age that he was, that he could see then how inappropriate and horrible it was. And they actually separated, and he was distancing to end that relationship. Now, she did get, like I said, I'm pretty sure it was cancer and it was terminal. So he was there for her, which was very nice of him, considering that he was now looking at everything being like, oh my gosh, like you did this and how horrible. But it took him having kids, getting to that age. So, I mean, these cases happen, but this is why we have the laws that we do, and parents need to be diligent in making sure that their kids are okay, even with people that they think are safe and they're a teacher and there's no issues. You could never be too sure. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors. And so we will be following her case. There hasn't been a lot of updates on it currently. And as I said, I'm not sure they're actually going to go through a whole trial or not. I would imagine that she's going to take a plea deal and try to run away from this whole thing. And she currently has, I think, a 3-year-old baby. So hopefully everything can get settled however it needs to be settled. I am curious to know if the dad is in the picture for the baby or if he is just nothing to do with them. But I'm sure that will come to light at some point. All right, I'm going to call it on this one. I have several other trials that I need to get to today. Tomorrow, Monica Cementelli comes back, and so many issues with that one. But I'm going to try to show up. I'll be there on time. They won't ever be there on time. But I'll be there, and if it goes well, we'll stay and we'll watch it all in real time with them. Otherwise, if they're having all of their issues per usual, we'll watch it at the end of the day so we can skip through all of their many breaks. So, all right. Well, thank you for watching. And if you are on here later with me doing a couple other trials, I will see you then.